to the ACLU website. Register to support the HR 40 bill for reparations for African Americans. Call your congressman, call your member at large. Tell them that you are an American and that you want America to repair the damage of slavery and systematic oppression. Reparations are due. Don't ask how it's going to be done. Ask when it is going to be done. We will no longer wait. I am mobilizing. I am organizing my people. And we will make America uncomfortable until reparations are paid. It's already been proven. Do the right thing. Support the HR 40 bill for reparations for African Americans. It's time.
Hey guys, it's Jen. I'm here at Freedom Plaza in DC, where you can see there is an encampment set up. I haven't counted the number of tents, but I'd say probably 30. And over across the street, you can see that that is the Wilson building, which is where the mayor of DC's office is. So protesters have been out here since yesterday, and this is part of a 36-hour protest. So smash the like button, share this stream. Let's get more people into this feed, let it build up a bit, then I'll talk to some of the people who are here. There's supposed to be someone who is running for Congress showing up quite soon. But I'll take you around. This is kind of a welcome tent area. And they have for protesters snacks and waters and, oh, excuse me, this is the welcome tent actually. So snacks and waters and just a big kind of volunteer movement. And this encampment has been here since yesterday. It's again a 36-hour protest. And it is in direct response to the DC City Council yesterday took public comment on reforms, on defunding the police, essentially. So protesters, you know, that was all recorded on Zoom. People were present via Zoom. And the vast majority of those who spoke were in favor of defunding the police. ASMR Oslet says, what hour of the 36 are they on? So they will be here until 9 p.m. Eastern time. So whatever that equals out to be. I'm trying to remember at what time they started yesterday. I'm not 100% certain. So I will definitely ask some of the people here, trying to see as the audience builds, like when the next speaker is going to come up. So what I've seen here so far is that people camped out and protested. Again, if you're just joining us, right in front of Mayor Bowser's office, the mayor of DC. And the call is to defund the police, to fund programs like schools, mental health, services for the community instead of funding the police. So smash the like button. share this stream on your Facebook, your Twitter, you're everywhere. There aren't a ton of people here, which I think, it's a Tuesday afternoon. People have been here in and out for what's building up to 36 hours. So when I got here, they were actually playing a game, like a kind of a trivia game. There's a twister board on the floor. So it's really turned into, it's not quite a Chaz as they have in Seattle. And again, this is meant to end today at 9 p.m. Eastern time. But it really does speak to the movement that people are out here, that people are occupying this space. And just giving calls to action for people to be present, to be vocal. So yesterday there was a huge call for public comment for the I'll walk around a bit as I talk, but for the DC City Council to listen to people and to last year they had reportedly 22 people speak on their public comment, time. And this year they had over 500 people apply. And they accepted or allowed on this Zoom call 90 people to give their comment. The vast majority, I believe the final count was there were 5 people who were against defunding the police. And the vast majority, the rest of the people, were for defunding the police. And they gave testimony. A lot of people work in the public. A lot of people, there were teachers, there were coaches, there were activists. 90 people spoke in favor of defunding the police. So you can see here the various tents, and we are again in front of the John A. Wilson building, which is where Mayor Bowser, the mayor of DC's office is. So I'm going to see if I can start to interview people. Again, I don't have an exact count of how many people are here. They're kind of in a lull right now as they're waiting for someone who's running for Congress is supposed to show up. So let me ask some of the organizers here. Let's see here. Let me go to the welcome tent. Smash the like button, share this stream, guys. Hey guys, I'm an independent journalist. Just wondering if I can talk to any of you or all of you about this encampment and the demands to defund the police. We're a progressive outlet.
Probably our coordinator, because we're all volunteering here, but Molly oh, she's over making a sign.
Oh, so she's the one down with the sign. Okay, got it. Thank you. Okay. Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so we're gonna find. One second, guys. Are you Philomena? They just pointed me to you. I'm an independent journalist with Status Coup, and would just love to talk to you about what you guys are doing and your efforts here, the call to defund the police, all that. Are you game for that?
Yeah, I am. Just when it's a little cooler.
Sure, it is. Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Absolutely. So I'll come back to you later. My name's Jen, so I'll be around. Nice to meet you. Hey. Hi. Do you mind talking to me? I'm an independent journalist with Status Coup. My name is Jen.
I guess I don't know.
I'm
nervous.
No, don't be nervous. Our audience is totally progressive and very, very supportive of your efforts. So just easy questions. If you don't mind, I'll put you on camera. Are you okay?
Can I really opt out?
Yeah, that's totally fine.
you so much.
Of course, of course.
Thank you. I'm
Do you have any
sorry.
It's okay. Any suggestions of who else to talk to? They pointed to Philomena, but she's taking a water break. So,
Okay.
or I'll just talk to some of the people who are around. It doesn't matter.
A lot of people I think are like taking some shade in their tent.
Yeah, it's hot out here for sure.
I'm sorry, I'm no fun.
No, it's totally okay. I understand.
You see the girl with the big curly hair?
Yeah.
She's done interviews before. She might be
Okay.
interested in
Okay, cool.
Her name is Taylor.
Taylor, okay.
Don't tell her I said
Okay. Thank you. Okay, 1 second, guys.
We can find out. If you can find out where Mary Bowser lives. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Hey guys, I don't want to interrupt, but I'm an independent journalist with Status Coup. My name is Jenn. We're a progressive channel. Just want to ask someone, whoever's willing, some questions about your effort. That's I've been pointed. I didn't want to say it, but I've been pointed towards Taylor.
You don't know it. You got the face.
What kind of questions? I'm so sorry.
No, just I've informed the audience already. We're actually live about your general goals. The fact that yesterday was a public speaking moment. The vast majority in favor of defunding the police.
Right.
Just kind of about what you guys are doing. Anything you want to say. It's nothing. No tricks.
You could use it as a platform to get more people to come out.
Yeah. My name is Jenn. I'm with Status Coup. We're an independent progressive outlet. We're mostly on YouTube. Status Coup, STATUS, COUP.
I love that. It's like a play on words.
Yes,
I love
exactly. Yeah, you guys have been out here for so long. All right, so we have Taylor, and I don't know. Hi, Francesca. Okay, so you guys are both, I guess, organizers with what group? Tell your group.
Freedom Fighters DC.
And I think, from what I understand, you guys are a pretty new group. Is that true? Formed out of what sparked Freedom Fighters?
Just formed out of the outrage at the death of George Floyd.
Yeah, for sure. And from what I've been following you guys on Twitter and all your social media, it's really taken off. And you guys have done several protests. You've organized several things. This is different. I've never personally seen anything like this. You guys are camped out for 36 hours in front. Well, we're in Freedom Plaza, camped out in front of Mayor Bowser's office. So talk about what kind of sparked you guys to come out here. What sparked this 36-hour sit-in / sleep-in?
No problem. So we decided that it would definitely be a good idea to come out and just make our voices heard and our oh my God, you got it.
No, it's so.
Yes, our voices heard, our demands known, just, to show that we aren't complacent. Just because things are quieting down a little bit doesn't mean that anyone is abandoning the cause, doesn't mean that we're going to accept any types of crumbs or any type of propaganda. We're absolutely focused on the cause, and we're going to be out here until they acknowledge our demands.
And let's talk a little bit about those demands, because as I've told the audience already, yesterday was a public speaking moment. They had 500 submissions for the public speaking sessions. They accepted 90 with Council Member Charles Allen, and the very vast majority were in favor of defunding the police. A lot of people gave stats and very firm, explicit reasons for defunding the police, which is kind of a new idea for a lot of people. So maybe speak on that. What to freedom fighters does defunding the police mean?
So when we say defund the police, I think there's a lot of confusion. I think some people take it to mean that we want to abolish the police, or that, we don't want the police to exist anymore, and that's not necessarily the case. What we would like to do is reallocate the funds that are going into the police department, as well as just reevaluate and reconfigure what the priorities of the police force are. I think that that's something that definitely needs to be looked at. Anything? Would you like to contribute as well?
It's kind of exactly what Taylor said. I mean, at the end of the day, like, if the system is corrupt and not working, right? It's just plain not working. They're supposed to be public servants, and they're actually destroying communities and lives. And like, at the end of the day, what that means is like that system doesn't work anymore. You need to completely like we were talking about this earlier, like, of course, like, livelihoods are important, but life is always more important over livelihood, life over property. And like, obviously some police officers might have to lose their job, or like the department is not going to look anything the same as it is now, but it needs to be started over. It needs to work for the community.
I think that a lot of people don't realize that the MPD has a budget of about $500 million, which is absolutely, it's insane to have that large of a budget and realize that our police officers are going to the police academy and completing the police academy in less time that it takes for you to go and get your barber license or to become a cosmetologist. That's absolutely unacceptable. That's showing us that there are not enough funds being allocated to the training of our police officers to handle sensitive situations, to handle them trying to figure out how they can interact with sensitive demographics, such as the mentally ill, such as the homeless, such as minorities, such as young children. I think that there's definitely need to be a major reallocation of funds in that direction, as well as to the screening of the police officers. I think that one thing people aren't realizing is that unless we change who can become an officer, the force and the face of the agency is not going to change. We have to be more responsible for who we are allowing to protect us.
Yeah, that sounds very reasonable. Let's talk about Mayor Bowser for a second here. So she's proposing to increase the police budget by $18.5 million. You spoke about what it is already, $500,000. So she wants to add even more funding to the police while decreasing other programs. She also wants to build a $5 million jail. So speak on how you guys view that.
I think that not just Mayor Bowser, but just America in general definitely has an obsession with just policing and punishment. Francesca just enlightened me the other day. She wants to open a massive jail, but she just closed down one of the largest homeless shelters in DC. I think that there's a major disconnect of priorities.
Yeah, I mean, like, it just really speaks to the idea that, like, she's enforcing and building up a police state instead of actually being out here with her community and seeing what the actual problems are. I mean, like, last night after we were done with, like, eating pizza and all this stuff, we handed out food and water to all of the people in our surrounding blocks, and we were having a conversation, like, she's not out here, she doesn't see this. Clearly, or else she would not be doing what she's doing right now. She wouldn't be taking money away from programs that are so vital to the community and giving it to police who are just going to hurt those communities. I mean, it'd be a completely different thing if the police were actually public servants, but they're not. They're over-policing communities of color, and they're destroying them and lives. It's ridiculous to continue funding that when you have a population that desperately needs other things.
Absolutely. It's unfortunate to found your campaign on just stating that she had grown up in DC and she understands the unique problems that that DC has, that the city has, and it seems like just maybe lately she's completely out of touch with what the priorities need to be. It's honestly, it's heartbreaking. We saw so many homeless. Doing anything?
I think one of the other things that was kind of close to my heart recently, I do the medic team for Freedom Fighters DC. I'm a firefighter EMC, and I'm about to get my Bachelor's of Science in Community Health, which focuses on health disparities in different communities, in ways in which social justice and health equity can fix that. And one of the things that we were talking about is, the city of DC hasn't really given any resources to any of the protesters besides the general free testing that they've been doing for everyone.
Absolutely.
And, people are out here really risking like their health and their lives to support a cause that is just people living. Like, it's really just like Black Lives Matter, the minimum of like, we want people to survive.
Absolutely.
And you have people getting tear gas, hit with rubber bullets, like the flashbangs are going out, people are getting like pushed to the ground. Coronavirus is still going on and people are coughing, which is the way it's spread because of the tear gas, with a disease that's predominantly like and disproportionately affecting Black communities and communities of color. And it's ridiculous to me that the city also isn't responding to that. Like, it should be preventative, don't get me wrong, but the fact that they're also not coming out afterwards to be like, we're going to provide you medical care, we're going to be here for you, is ridiculous to me.
And to add insult to injury, I think to say, we understand your plight, we understand what you're going through, and to rename the area around Lafayette Park to Black Lives Matter Plaza, I think is absolutely insulting when you realize that right after she did that, she allocated more funding to the police.
And that's why it was great that Black Lives Matter DC went out and they said equals defund the police, because it's a performative gesture. It's nothing
propaganda.
more than
And we will not be accepting crumbs anymore. We will be out here until they take us seriously and start acknowledging our demands and our concerns.
That's actually exactly what I was going to ask you about. A lot of people that I've interviewed have said that Mayor Bowser's Black Lives Matter, mural seems performative. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Seems performative, and it really doesn't lead to actual changes. So that's what it seems like you guys are out here demanding: actual changes, actual policy changes, real changes to the budget, real changes to the way things are done. Walk our audience through what's happened so far. So what time did you get here yesterday? What kind of events have happened, and how has the kind of public response been?
So we got here around 9 a.m. yesterday. We've decided that we're actually going to extend the sit-in by another 12 hours, so we will not be leaving until 9 a.m. tomorrow. We got in, we started setting up tents. We have been watching educational movies. We have incited discussions and education and outreach among everyone who attended, just to share the knowledge and make sure that we're all on the same page, so that once they leave the sit-in, they can take that information and share it to others around them, so that way we can really get everybody educated and aware on our purpose and why we're out here. In the next couple minutes or so, we actually have Jonathan Cheeks coming to come and speak with us for a little bit. I believe he's running to be a representative in Congress, so we should be handling that shortly. Anything else you wanted to touch on as far as
I think
important activities?
it's just been kind of like group building activities also, which have been very good for the group. We just played Jeopardy, which was really, really good, with a lot of very important civil rights leaders and historical court cases and all that kind of stuff, to just continue our education and continue our community building.
Yes, and like I said, after last night, after we'd eaten, we took all of the leftovers or snacks and waters and just went around the city handing out to the homeless population. I know you can see the tents and sleeping bags around you, and we also intend to donate a portion of those to the homeless population as well, just making sure that everyone is taken care of.
And that's one of the things that I've seen among protesters in general, not just with this particular one, that protesters have been taking care of each other with water, with snacks, with hand sanitizer, with masks. I was reporting here last week, and someone gave me a mask and gave me water, and it was just the kind of the people taking care of one another sort of aspect. How does that play into the idea maybe of community policing, if indeed you guys like that idea of taking away power from the police, from MPD in particular, and having programs like social workers coming to deal with mental health crises instead of police?
I think that we can definitely focus put a more focus on preventative measures as well as rehabilitative measures. I think that it doesn't necessarily have to be so focused on actually having a police force. I think that we can put emphasis, especially in the schools. I think that it's important to have, like you said, social workers who can come and check on the mental health of our minority youth in low-income school districts. I think that that's incredibly important because growing up in poverty has, just an innumerable amount of effects, and it's very hard for someone who's young to understand, some of the ramifications of that. And I think that it leads them to, necessarily do things that they might not understand, especially when you're in school and there's no books, you're not learning anything. And, you go home, there's not going to be any food on the table. So it's only natural as a young child, your brain is not fully developed. You're like, look, I'm going to go to the store and I'm hungry. So they might, take something, they might do other actions that they might not necessarily think through all the way. Whereas if we have those mental health criteria and if we have those mental health check-ins, we might be able to put a stop to some of those actions if we can connect the youth to the proper resources. So if we can connect them with food, if we can connect them with a therapist, if we can connect them to just any type of outreach that might benefit them and help prevent them from going down any path that might negatively affect them in the long run.
Definitely. And I think even going off of what Taylor said, going with a human and logical perspective, if you think about it, you have someone who might be addicted to drugs or someone who is homeless. Who is going to be able to better address resources they need and help this person, a police officer or someone
Absolutely.
who specializes in this, who knows how rehabilitation works, who knows the unique struggles with being addicted or with being homeless or any of these things. Even from a logical and human perspective, it doesn't make sense that police are the people responding to these calls when they just aren't the people who are actually going to be able to help. Instead of just treating the symptoms of the problem, you can actually treat the problem itself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. So, where do you see this going? Freedom Fighters, DC. You announced that you are extending the sit-in to tomorrow at 9 a.m. so people can come on down if they are in the DC area. So where do you see this going? What are the next steps?
So honestly, the next steps are just to never stop. We have continuous actions being planned on a weekly rotating basis. We do have more sit-ins planned. This will not be the last. We have quite a bit of other events going on. We are planning a poetry protest and a few other education and outreach actions that I can't quite disclose yet, but we will be very active. We don't intend on stopping anytime soon.
Definitely. I think that we were just discussing this. This has been going on for about 3 weeks now, a lot of
Yes.
these protests, but in relation to other historical protests that have been going on for even longer, it's just a good reminder, hi.
Oh, are these your new speakers?
Yes,
Yeah,
hello.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's been great. Good stuff. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hope you have a good rest of your day.
Yeah,
Where can we
thank you.
find,
I'll be around.
more
So
info?
Status Coup, we're mostly on YouTube, youtube.com/Status Coup.
Okay.
And I thought I had my badge on it somewhere. Yeah, so you can
Great.
find us there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too. So that was wonderful. Those two women were fantastic. You heard there, Freedom Fighters DC, and next they're going to have someone who's running for Congress speak. So I will stay live for that. Please, in the meantime, while we're waiting for to organize this speech, smash the like button, share this stream on your Twitter, your Facebook, your everywhere, your subreddits. Do it. It helps us out so much. You can also support us via super chats because it does cost a lot for us to be out here reporting. GoFundMe.com/status-coup-news. So right now, people out here, if you're just joining us, so this is an encampment. you can see the Capitol building back there. And this is an encampment in front of the Wilson building, which is where Mayor Bowser's office is, the mayor of DC, Muriel Bowser. And right now the Freedom Fighters DC have organized this, and you can follow them on Twitter. I've been keeping up with everything that they are doing. So right now they're preparing for someone who is running for Congress to give a speech, so we'll wait for that. In the meantime, let's talk a little bit about, so Retro says not enough people. Well, that's the thing here. This is, it was originally a 36-hour sit-in or sleep-in. So it's different than just showing up to a protest, because these are people who are actually camping here, who are actually sleeping here. So it's not just showing up to normal protests. So of course it would be less kind of occupied than normal. But I'll take you around a little bit, look at some of the tents and all of that. Over here is the medical tent. So they've really thought of everything, and that's one of the things that I touched on in this interview, is that people are taking care of people. So there's a medical tent there. And I really can't stress enough, just being out here in these protests for so long, just how people care for one another. And, even when going back to when I was attacked by police officers, it was protesters who pulled me out, who, grabbed me and pulled me away from the cop. And protesters have been handing out water and snacks and, again, medical supplies. People have really been taking care of people, and that's one of the things that the Defund the Cops, Defund the Police movement has focused on, is the fact that the police don't need to handle everything. They don't need to be called when there's a mental health crisis. They don't need to be called when there's, a school. They don't need to be in the schools. Cops are not the be-all, end-all. So this is historic. Here's where they've been making signs, painting signs. You see lots of spray paint and poster board. Let's talk a little bit too about Trump. I don't know if you guys saw his little rose garden speech earlier, but essentially people were hopeful because he'd invited Lee Merritt and families of black people who've been murdered at the hands of police. People were kind of hopeful, but in the end, Lee Merritt, the lawyer, and others chose not to attend because it seems he actually wasn't listening, which of course he wasn't going to. But in the end, all that Trump is going to do is banning chokeholds, except for in cases where the officer feels that their life is in danger. Well, how is that any different from normal? Police were complaining and were reporting that they were poisoned by Shake Shack yesterday. So how, and then they had to put out a tweet last night in the middle of the night saying, oh no, we actually were not poisoned by Shake Shack. So those police who drank a milkshake apparently felt like their lives were in danger. So how is this protective of anyone? If police can say at any time that they feel their lives are in danger, this changes nothing. So that's one of Trump's new executive order, proposal things. He's also talking about, not allowing police who've been fired to go to be hired by another police force. Well, that's good. That's a good thing. The other thing is increased training for police. Well, we know from statistics that just because police are trained in de-escalation and things like that, and even things like body cameras, don't actually decrease the violence by police at all. That's what we know from different studies. So Trump's measures are not, they don't go far enough. And it was kind of really disheartening to see people like Van Jones on CNN go up and say, oh, this is historic. And this, I mean, these are obviously not exact quotes from Van, but he was like excited about the possibilities here. What Trump has done is really nothing. And that's what seems to be the case all the way around, is it's really nothing. We have here in DC where Mayor Bowser is just placating people or attempting to placate people by having this mural that says Black Lives Matter. Well, that's why the movement for Black Lives Matter DC, painted Black Lives Matter equals defund the police. They painted that on after she did, because it's not far enough. Here we are in the third week of protests, and people are not going back to sleep. People are not ready to just, throw in the towel. They're not just going to go back to the way things were. So this is historic. This is a moment. It's not normal. It's not typical to see an encampment outside of Mayor Bowser's office. And yes, she is a black leader. She is a black mayor. But that goes to show you that just because someone calls themselves a Democrat, just because someone claims to be progressive, doesn't mean that that's actually the case at all. So right now I'm waiting for a speech to start where someone who is running for, I believe his last name is Cheeks, someone who's running for Congress is going to speak to the people here at the encampment. I want to let you guys know that here at Status Coup, we are making big plans. So in DC, there's the big Juneteenth protests, celebrations, shutdowns, and I will be reporting from Juneteenth. I'll be here from Thursday through Sunday or Monday or so. And there aren't just plans to protest. There are plans to essentially try to shut down DC. So yesterday, if you were watching in a protest, they shut down a highway in DC, a 5 lanes on both sides. They shut down both sides. And there are plans for that for Juneteenth as well. Shutting down a highway, shutting down services, transit, a general kind of strike situation. So a lot of groups are involved in that. A lot of groups have been influential in planning for Juneteenth. And Yellow Vests, I did not go to Philly. We actually have a freelancer who's been working for us in Philly, doing some work for us, doing some filming for us, named Jason. So there's an encampment there as well, which started, as part of a homeless encampment. So we have footage up from Philly, so definitely check that out. We also have, Jordan has plans, or is making plans, we're making plans right now for him to go back out in the field with a very, very interesting story, a very impactful story. So keep your eye out for that. And that's the thing here. We're not just reporting from our studios. We're not just reporting on what other people are reporting. We are actually out there in the field documenting what's going on, documenting this very historic moment. And that's what we will continue to do. So it looks like the group is still kind of conferring. Crystal, yes, we have a direct PayPal link, paypal.me/status coup. You can also support us, gofundme.com/status-coup-news. But that's the thing about us, about Status Coup, is we're here, we're on the ground. That's our whole thing, is being on the ground, in the field, documenting what's going on. Right now, if you're just joining us, please smash the like button and share this stream. Right now, I am at an encampment outside of the mayor of DC's office. And it's been here since yesterday, and they were going to leave at 9 p.m. tonight, but they've actually extended that through tomorrow at 9 a.m. So they said, if you're here in DC, come on down, come join. This has been arranged by Freedom Fighters DC, which is a relatively new group. You can see, so Freedom Plaza, if you're not around DC often, they have people skateboarding here all the time. It's just kind of a nice place to skateboard. Maybe I'll take you down and show you, while we're still waiting for the speaker, they've covered this whole area with chalk, sidewalk chalk, and that's what you see all around DC. So right here, it's hard for me to see in the sun, but it says, "We are done dying." And that's what it says over here as well. We are done dying. And things like this really strike you because that's what this is all about. This is about the fact that police are murdering Black people. That Black people in this country are treated horrendously. And so it says over and over again, "We are done dying" in this plaza. Freedom Plaza used to have a different name. It was actually renamed in honor of Martin Luther King as Freedom Plaza, but here people are still fighting for basic rights. Just to show you, it says it all over, "We are done dying." How is it in 2020 that human beings are having to fight to live just because of the color of their skin? I mean, I could show you that it says it all over the plaza. We are done dying. So, very striking. DC has basically been turned into a total protest zone with signs hung up everywhere, sidewalk chalk everywhere. Just the city turned into a space where people can come together and can protest and can talk about things like basic rights. I saw someone say they hope we got the email about someone who can report in Chaz. Please contact us at info@statuscoup.com. We definitely want someone who can report for us from Chaz, or CHOP as it's now called. A freelance, paid freelance position. So info@statuscoup.com. Waiting to see here when they're gonna start, I think any minute now. Let me take you around over here. So it's kind of a very chill situation. Um, from what I understand, they'll sometimes break out in protest. Other times they will be playing games and kind of keeping themselves occupied, because what else do you do when you're there for 36 hours? Now they're going to be here through 9 a.m. tomorrow. So here on the other side of the plaza, we have, it says, "People power unchecked is un-American. I pray freedom is restored. End police tyranny. End the police fascist state." And here we have protect Black trans lives. And renegade police do what they please because the government allows it. Wild dogs unleashed on the people. And that's all over the plaza. People have taken to, writing out their pain all over DC. Still waiting for this speaker to start. Maybe I can grab someone who is just an attendee. Let's see, let's go over to this tent. There's a sign that says Bartenders Against Racism. Hey guys, I'm an independent journalist, progressive outlet. Just wondering if I can talk to anyone about your experiences with the sit-in. And I'm an independent journalist with Status Coup. We're a progressive outlet. Just wondering if I can talk to you guys about your experiences with the sit-in. I've interviewed some of the organizers already, but just looking for more voices.
Sure. I mean, should we be seeing maybe if Allison wants to approve that? I don't want to do anything that's. We are with an organization, but we do have a media outlet, and like they kind of contain who's doing the interviews and who's doing the.
Okay. I mean, I spoke with Philomena and Taylor and what was her name? Another girl. But yeah, I'm open to whatever you guys have to check it through. I'm live right now, so I'm just pointing it away from you. But it's just general questions about, how it's gone. And I just heard that you guys are extending it to tomorrow at 9, which is very cool. So, oh, well, there you go. Surprise.
We're supposed to end today at 9, and now it's tomorrow, man. Okay, shit.
Something on the horn and let them know.
Yeah,
that we'll
alright,
need somebody
we're gonna have to like send out some stuff real quick to let people know about tomorrow.
Yeah, of course. So, do you guys you can check with someone? And again, it's just going to be like simple stuff.
Yeah.
Let me call Allison.
Alright, I'm gonna let people know about tomorrow.
Okay, so 1 second, guys. I'll show you while I'm waiting. And it's, it's normal for people to be hesitant to talk to the media in these protest situations. Abolish capitalism, imperialism, white supremacy, and especially the police. So you'll find that absolutely everywhere. And I wish that I could take you guys on kind of a journey, kind of a walk. I did a little bit yesterday, but through the White House area, because it's been turned into a total, it's like artwork there. People have crocheted beautiful things, and just, it's been absolutely stunning to see what's been happening down at the White House. They finally opened up Lafayette Square Park and allowed people to go into the People's Park, and it took quite a while for that to happen. So yeah, it's been really interesting here in DC. This weekend, it should completely blow up. It's going to be massive with Juneteenth. Several organizations, including Black Lives Matter DC, freedom fighters who we've just spoken to, are planning on taking several actions. So there's going to be protests, there's going to be shutdowns, there's going to be just total takeover, it seems, of DC. So I'm going to be live here in DC, taking stock of it all, interviewing people, seeing what's going on, and it'll be good. And Jordan's going to take a break. Not a break, take a trip. Jordan's going to take a trip. He's just taken a short break because he actually yesterday had a colonoscopy. So keep those super chats coming for Jordan. Poor Jordan. He should get his results back soon. And yeah, so he's going to be taking an infield trip soon that we will report on as soon as things are firmed up. So please smash the like button, share this stream. TMI, it's not TMI. Yeah, so it'll be good. Jordan and Jamal will be taking the infield trip, and I will be in DC. So lots and lots of content coming this weekend, and hoping that I can get this interview in a second here. As I said, some people are really hesitant to speak to the media, so that's okay. So we have someone right now who's checking to make sure that it's okay. And then there's supposed to be a speech by someone who's running for Congress. So GoFundMe.com/status-coup-news. Yes, Anony, status colon. Oh, great, awesome. I appreciate it. My name is Jen, by the way.
My name's Addie Adwa.
And are you with Freedom Fighters DC?
No, we're actually with Bartenders Against Racism.
Okay, I did see your sign over there, Bartenders Against Racism. So I think I saw one of the people with you, Allison Lane, maybe?
Allison, yeah, she's our leader.
Yeah, I saw her yesterday. So let's start with her because she gave a wonderful kind of speech yesterday. They had to do it via Zoom, but to the DC Council. Mm-hmm. So talk a little bit about Bartenders Against Racism to start out with.
So we're trying to be a community resource for bars and restaurants in DC to give out education about racism and systemic racism and how it affects everybody within this industry, and trying to raise up the Black voices within this industry so that we're now coming to the table with our own issues and being able to express that to people and have them listen to us. And this has been a resource that we are now working on. There's new initiatives being worked on, and Allison has been amazing. She's been able to organize this in a way that feels very grassroots, but also feels like it has a purpose. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I saw also that it just became an official company, so that's it seems like a cause for celebration. So what are speak on the basic tenets of this organization, how it formed, things like that.
Well, I know that I can't speak to the exact forming, and that's really not my story to tell. We have people whose voices that can be used to do that. But there are a lot of people within this industry who have been here for a long time, have been overlooked, have not been listened to. And we are one of the biggest employers in the city specifically and countrywide. And a lot of disadvantaged youth come through this, and if we could catch them up pretty early and teach them how to navigate a system that's not entirely for them all the time, and give them voices, then we're doing the best that we can for the next generation. And that's really, I guess, how I see this working for us.
Yeah, and so let's talk a little bit about the council hearings yesterday, where the public was given the opportunity to speak. There were over, I think, 500 applications. They allowed 90 people to speak. The very vast majority of people, I think there are only 5 who didn't call for it, calling for defunding the police. So can you speak on what that means to you all, and how it kind of felt to see this movement coming together in mass? 3 weeks ago, people maybe wouldn't have been calling for defunding the police. What does that mean now?
Speaking for me, defunding the police to me means taking the money away from preventative criminalization and actually moving it to the things that actually prevent crime and prevent poverty and prevent problems within marginalized communities. Why is the one thing that we keep funding the police when we could be funding education, we could be funding art programs, we could be catching youth at a young age and channeling their energies into arts and science and STEM, and we're giving all of that money to the police. And you're telling us that this is a way that you're protecting us. It's not protecting us. Who is it serving? It's not serving anybody. It's not serving the youth who can't get jobs. It's not serving the mother who can't, put her kid in daycare because she has to be with them all the time. And now this kid is running around, because their mother has to be at work. All of this stuff is just, I'm sorry, I'm starting to get very worked up about it because it's been happening for so long, and this drum has been beat so loud for so long. So you can't tell us that we haven't been speaking out about this. You've just been giving more money to the people who don't actually care. They're not doing anything. They haven't been doing anything. Let's try something new.
And Mayor Bowser, she wants to fund the police by $18.5 million additional dollars on top of the almost, or over $500,000. She also wants to build a $5 million new jail. We're here in front of Mayor Bowser's office, and she's recently painted Black Lives Matter on, the mural on the street. So a lot of people have been calling that performative. So what would you say to Mayor Bowser?
If you're going to fight for us, if you're going to fight with us, actually fight with us. We see through you. We see through it all. We've been doing this so long that it's offensive to me that you keep thinking that we're just going to keep buying this. Like, your crumbs are not enough. They're not enough. They've never been enough. And we are starving for funding. We're starving for programs that actually feed us, nourish us, and bring us up. Like, we can't have equality until we have social equality, and we can't have economic equality until we have social equality. Like, we have to bring everybody up to this level. And she needs to be a part of that. I've lived in DC my entire life. I've watched the city chunk by chunk be given away to people who don't care about the citizens of this city. And the education system doesn't tell you that people live in this city and work in the city and have been suffering in the city for so long. And to watch all of this disappear, whatever generational property, whatever, anything that we had in the city is just all gone now. And you're giving this money to people who don't even live in this city. You're giving it to cops who don't live in DC, who only work in DC. This force has grown so much, and it's not serving any of us. So let's get rid of the jump outs. Let's defund the police. Let's actually work on a social care system that actually cares about people and isn't there to be an underhanded hand of the police. And that's really what I hope we can do with defunding the police.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I'm sure you've been out here. I've been out here reporting, and you've seen various things from the police being quite violent and reactive to protesters, to them kind of being pulled back a little bit.
They're treating us like enemy combatants. We're not enemy combatants. We are citizens of this country. I'm a naturalized citizen of this country. I gave up my citizenship to the country that I was born in to be a part of this country. And I was given a slip of paper that said, you get to partake of this. I'm American. I don't feel American. People that are born here don't feel American. You're treating us like enemy combatants, and you've militarized your police forces. We are not in other countries, and you're doing to us what you're doing to people in other countries. It's a problem worldwide.
And Donald Trump just gave this kind of, I'll go ahead and say it, ridiculous speech in the Rose Garden, where it was kind of built up, and he was supposed to have, Lee Merritt and families of black people who've been murdered at the hands of police. He was supposed to listen to them. He, of course, did not. And it turns out that the only changes he's making via this executive order include potentially police not being able to go to additional, if they've been fired, not being able to go to somewhere else, a ban on chokeholds unless the police officer feels like their life is in danger, and then some programs that are supposed to help police be less violent. So
what's the difference in what you're proposing now versus what we've had before? Isn't that what police immunity was for? Like, that you can't get charged for certain actions that you had to take, but you found a loophole. Police have found a loophole, and they have used that for the smallest instances. Like, if you're willing to use that to lie about, putting something in an evidence locker, what's not going to say that you're not going to use that to abuse a person that you're arresting? Like, you found a loophole. None of those are going to work because we've built in loopholes everywhere. You said that immunity is not on the table. The Republicans have said this over and over again. It's not going to work. If that is not on the table, it's not going to work. If all of these really hard decisions and really hard choices that you have to make are not on the table, you're not doing shit. I'm sorry. I didn't.
So where do we go from here? What do the people who are at home watching right now, what do they need to do? What do people need to do to really make a difference, to force a difference?
Keep using your voices. I feel like a lot of times it feels like they're waiting for us to just get tired. And it happens every time we just get tired. We've been out here for how many weeks now? Like, I'm pretty sure that they all thought we were going to be done by now. Like, oh, you had your 2-week uprising and you're done. No, we keep going. We keep going. We get people registered to vote. And we make those resources available for people to vote. We start really, there's so many things we can do. There's so many things, but just keep using your voice. Keep being loud. And if people tell you it's annoying, tell them to shut the hell up, because you know what? You know what's annoying? 400 years of systemic racism. You know what's really annoying? Is still feeling like half a person. And yeah, I'm tired. We're all tired.
Yeah, completely understandably. And so plug your organization. How can people help support?
So we are Bartenders Against Racism. You can look us up on Instagram at Bartenders Against Racism. We also have bartendersagainstracism.com, which will become a resource for almost anything that you can find out about us will be up there. We're working on different initiatives in the city. I cannot speak to those, but they are being diligently worked on, and it's so heartening to see people working so hard to do this and actually feeling like, you know what, this is going to work. And yeah, so going back to making sure that there's resources and Black voices are being heard and amplified, because the time is now. Like, we can't keep waiting.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. That was great. Thank you. I appreciate it. Wow, she was very powerful. Very, very powerful. Definitely share this stream, guys. Let people know we're out here. So here is Mr. Cheeks, I think, who's running for Congress.
Of the North American slavery system. Many of you call it reparations. Reparations is not the answer.
Yeah, sure.
Can
Can you take a picture of it, or?
Only because it does not pay where it should pay. And it forces people who are innocent taxpayers to pay. We want recovery because it goes after the industries who participate, who have the deep pockets, who are steadily watching us argue among each other and divide us apart. Going after the industries means that this country and the people of this country will be made whole. My ancestors built this country for free. And it is a common fact. 80% of the products that you all consume have the slave labor of my ancestors working. Any black American that you will meet whose ancestors, wherever they're from in this country, worked for free. We cannot bring equality of life without paying for the injury of slavery. And we must make the ones who are still in existence today, whether they are a corporation, an institution, an association, such as the cotton industry, the sugar industry, the alcohol industry, the building products industry, and a host of others, the banking industry, and the insurance industry. They are all still alive and well today, making billions and billions of dollars every year, while they watch us become divided. But in this year, in this era of 2020, we all have came together. And I am very pleased to see white people, black people, yellow people, brown people, all come together and push for the same ideas. We understand that money does not solve everything. But how many of you have tried to work 2 years for free? You can't. This country was founded upon the principles of capitalism. It's time for capitalism to be shared. And there's nothing wrong with sharing capitalism. And there's nothing wrong with telling our elected officials who we are voting for faithfully, who does not deserve our vote faithfully. It is time to ask them the question. We are ready for recovery. Are you in favor of recovery? If they say no, you will do what? Turn around and walk away. We don't care what party they're a part of. It's not about the party. It's about the issues that the people are in need of. Solving the crisis. Our homeless crisis is a direct impact from slavery. Many of you don't know that. My ancestors, after freeing enslaved people, they were homeless. They didn't have anywhere to go. They were nomads. They were wanderers. And a lot of laws from the police were activated to do what? Criminally prosecute them and throw them back into servitude. That's the direct connection of recovery and police reform. We all are sitting here wondering today, will our actions be accounted for? And I can tell you, without any doubt, your actions will be accounted for. 100%. I will need each and every one of you to be a conscious voter November 3rd, wherever you're from, whether it's D.C. or from the far west in California. We have bad apples that we need to get rid of. And some of you
should consider running for office to help get rid of the bad actors. We don't need them. They need to be dismissed, and quickly. We cannot wait, and you should not wait. And also, I want to address one other issue, the Confederate statues, or the slave owner statues, or the buildings that represent religious rights that participated in enslaving my ancestors, or our ancestors. They are equally as wrong. You are going to have to rethink how you want to worship, who you want to worship with. They have been a problem of an ongoing saga until today. You are ending what's called the Civil War. The Civil War is over because of your involvement. Your ancestors tried to end it. Now you are going to end it. I am watching you. My committee is responsible for removing all of your Confederate fixtures around this country. It was started in 2016. We secretly did this. But now, the American public has ears wide open, and you all have embraced the idea of getting rid of 17th century, 18th century, and 19th century thoughts that have divided this country. We're all watching it. You have supporters that range anywhere from 200 million to 300 million people. I get emails of people pleased to see the children of North America and the United States come together to tell our elected officials over there and our elected officials down the street, you're not going to be in office if you do not address what? The recovery of the people. And I thank you. If you have any questions, I am here to answer. Yes.
How do you feel about respectability politics and the movement that's currently going on for rights? And also, have you read the demands from freedom fighters?
I have not read all of your demands.
So, it's not that long, and I feel like it's too late to be talking at their movement without reading their demands.
Well, what I can do, I was told to speak, and I willfully did so. Yes.
How do you feel about respectability politics in our movement? What consider respectful? How we present ourselves?
To me, how you present yourself is okay. I have no problem with how you present your arguments for change. What you are presenting is called adjustment. You are part of the adjustment movement. This country knows that it had to do this. Now you have pushed the needle, and we are absolutely in favor of how you're doing this.
His last name is Cheeks. So right now they're taking audience questions. I apologize for the framing of the video. The sun is so bright it's hard for me to see. Right now, I believe that he's conferring with one of the freedom fighters people, Taylor, and talking about how to get a copy of their demands. Subscribe, guys, if you haven't already. Please subscribe to Status Coup. We will be out here in the field frequently, especially this weekend, so you definitely want to subscribe and see. We'll be live from DC. We'll be live with Jordan from an undisclosed location that we will disclose very soon. You can support us with super chats and GoFundMe, gofundme.com/status-coup-news. You guys are the ones who help keep us out in the field reporting, so we really, really appreciate you. Okay, so I don't think you guys can hear her, but she's asking about the HR 40 reparations bill and how he feels about that. Again, I apologize for the framing of the video if it's off because I can't see a thing on my screen.
If I could answer your question aloud. The difference between recovery, the U.S. Adjustment and Recovery Act, and reparations is that this reparations bill has been on the table of Congress for over 50 years. And before then, it was another 50 years. So a total of 100 years. And the reason why the Reparations Act did not go through was simply because it authorized a group of people to criminally prosecute the United States government. That's why reparations did not go through. And also, another factor was the taxpayers' responsibility. The actual taxpayer would have to pay into the reparations fund. Now, as a descendant of an enslaved American, your ancestors worked for over 251 years for free. And the Reparations Act would only pay out a mere $35,000 because the taxpayers would be responsible to pay for that injury. What we did, my committee, USCRIA, we came in, we met with a special interest group, and we found out what will sell to this government and the people of the government, which means you and everybody else here and throughout the country. We found out it was much easier to enforce payments from the industries, the associations, the religious organizations who benefited from enslaving our ancestors and further creating what's called the Civil War.
Just to fact check you, the HR 40 bill, it did not end. It's actually still going on.
It's at 42.
And also with the recovery, I think that bill pretty much, it's us idly waiting by and just presenting whatever we can to get whatever we can. And I think that time is over. I think the demand for reparations in terms of HR 40 is needed because it actually holds the United States government accountable. We will be
Again, if you can't hear her, she's talking about the HR 40 bill and reparations and holding the government accountable.
My bill.
institutions that not only benefit from slavery, taxpayers that, benefited from slavery, your regular Joe Americans benefited from slavery. I think we have to come to grips with the idea that slavery it affects everybody, not just your religious institutions, not just your financial institutions, it affects everybody.
Well, let me address.
Everybody needs to hold themselves accountable and they need to have reparations.
I am in favor of what you're saying, with the exception of going at or using the Reparations Act, which will further divide the American people. it would not be a pleasant scene for American people to think that they had to dip in their pocket to pay for other American people. Well, here, I'm going to try to go there again with you. The Reparations Act gives the American injured victim to criminally prosecute this country before an international court, much like the Jewish population did with Germany, after they formed their own national government. The United States government will have to be our partner to help us enforce the law. Right now,
Protesters are saying that the U.S. government has never been the partner of black people.
well, I'm going to explain something very quickly. H.R. 40. I knew the Honorable Congressman John Conyers. He and I discussed the difference. During his era, reparations was a common used name for the rally cry, the injuries to all people, but mostly black people, because we found other groups, other ethnic groups, using that system to gain injury wealth. We cannot use it because we are American citizens. We have direct lineage to America, unlike other groups that used reparations.
Who got direct lineage to America? I'm confused too, sis.
Well, you are an American citizen, whether you like it or
By
not.
force, because we were kidnapped and placed here as slaves. So this is not direct
Under your
lineage.
recovery bill, who's entitled to recovery? First generation African American Caribbean folks? Who's entitled?
Okay, you have 3 users that are entitled. You ready? You have use group 1. Those are the direct lineage people born here in the United States of America who were from slavery origins.
So how can you
How are you
trace
determining
that?
that?
It's determined through your social security number and your census
Yeah, you know
count.
the census didn't start till well after slaves were starting to get released, and that they were fabricated many a time. That's not a fair way to judge.
Okay. Our census count and social security numbers weigh a lot of identity features in it that you don't know of. Now, you don't. You honestly don't. I don't either. There are people inside of this government who control that. Now, the second users will be people from the West Indies and the Caribbean who currently live in this country, who are residents of the United States. The third users will be descendants of Civil War veterans who fought for the Union Army. Those are the 3 use groups.
So the descendants of Civil War veterans that fought for the Union Army encompasses more than just African Americans. It encompasses white brethren. It encompasses Native Americans. I don't think your recovery plan is pretty much thought out. I think you need to go back to the drawing board and look at the HR 40 as
HR 40 is
She's saying he should go back to the drawing board with his bill.
revitalize whatever happened. Because when you presented it, it seemed like a bill that encompasses all African Americans, and now you're including other folks, including folks who fought in the Union Army. What does it have to do with slavery?
well, they had to fight.
What do
They had to
African
fight
Americans have
to
to do with slavery?
liberate.
What they have slavery?
Right now, they're just existing as Americans, as we are. The money is based.
Over Native Americans, over Black Americans. I don't think it's really gone out.
Well, I apologize if you think that or feel that, but this is 2 years of research that will sell. Reparations will not sell right now. Thank you for your question.
Yeah, so protesters are upset that he's saying like reparations won't sell, and that's why he's not fighting for them. So this guy is asking what his opinion is on defunding the police and the policies surrounding it.
My opinion on defunding the police goes into a financial outlook and forecast of different police departments. Looking at their statistics on excessive abuse, looking at their statistics on injuring civilians, looking at the actual statistics on how many Black Americans are in leadership positions, and also public disclosure of all of their officers to make sure that they are not a part of a neo-Nazi or a Ku Klux Klan or any type of extreme far-right group. That's when we get the issues that we have right now. You have to remember the history of the police, how they were formed. They were formed to do what? Chase after runaway enslaved people. And then they became formalized over the years. And inside of the police department is still in the thread of a lot of them who really don't like certain Black Americans. Now, as far as defunding the police department, that can be what's called reforming the police department. When you say defund, that means you're going to pull money away from them. How much do you want to pull? Absolutely. 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 And it should be done if they are mishandling their budget. Absolutely. And injuring the public. It goes a two-way, it's a two-way street. And I understand your position about defunding. I totally understand that. When someone goes after your loved one, injures them, yes, you want absolute and total justice.
So I have one question, and then if you'll allow me, I have a follow-up question after. So I was wondering about your tax reform, specifically like do you believe in progressive?
Well, the progressive tax system. I believe in reducing taxes in this country. But I know the only way that we can reduce taxes is to lift people out of poverty. When we lift people out of poverty, there will be certain programs that we will not need anymore, that will not come through the pockets of many to pay for a few.
But like right now, with our current state of affairs, do you believe in a progressive tax for people that make significant amounts of money?
So she's asking for a progressive tax for those who make a lot of money.
I don't have a problem with people having some sort of excise tax.
So if we had a
Well, I would support a recovery bill because we are not trying to criminally prosecute him. Reparations goes into that, and also it goes into taxing them on top. The Recovery Act does not. It goes into automatic claim rights. Year for year that organization or industry was formed or
Not support the direct prosecution of the United States government when they're the biggest benefactors from chattel slavery, the new Jim Crow, and mass incarceration. Like, why would you not criminally prosecute them?
So she's
it would
asking
be
why
to
wouldn't
our
the U.S.
better
government be
interest, not
criminally
to,
prosecuted for slavery?
it would be to our better interest to make them a partner in helping us to go and retrieve wealth that's on the table for us, not only here in this country, but over in international waters as well.
If you had a vote, would you vote yes on a reparations bill, even though it wasn't your own?
As long as it doesn't have criminally prosecute the country and the taxpayers.
Why do Jewish people why are they allowed to criminally prosecute in Germany, but we're not allowed to criminally prosecute a country that literally was built off of the backs of our ancestors, stole people, millions of people, killed, murdered, raped, all of those things? Why is that not allowed to be criminally prosecuted?
Because inside of our Constitution and some local state constitutions, they have what's called the Immunity Act, where they actually gave them immunity during after slavery.
But don't
and
you
I completely understand
that any government of an oppressor is going to legitimize the oppression? It is never going to be within that law to allow them to be prosecuted. That's why the International Criminal Court is independent, because we don't care what their laws say. We're saying that this is wrong. As a pointed group of people, we say that this is wrong based on our international norms.
in order for you to criminally prosecute the U.S. government, you would have to go somewhere and buy land and charter it as your own nation. Just like the children from the Holocaust in Israel did. They went to Palestine and purchased 200 acres of land, and the Palestinian government allowed them to form their own sovereign government.
They didn't allow that.
That's what you would have to do.
You mean stole by force with the support of the West, right?
That's how they did it.
They stole it is how they did it.
So you can hear people saying, they stole the land.
Just like America was purchased. Okay. Purchased. What are you talking about? 10 feet was great MSRP on Manhattan, okay?
I can't hear what this one is saying, so. Again, this is Meeks, who's answering questions from protesters right now. So she's talking about the fact that all she sees from politicians are performative stunts and not real action.
In elected office.
I'm thinking about everyone. Most
Presenting Israel
ones
as
who
an
have
example.
forgotten. This forgotten one of this country are the blind Americans, and of course our Native Americans. We are the forgotten ones. I apologize if I using colors of skin tone, and that's something that we didn't look
So she asked for the
really people
thing back. She's standing now.
identify.
Was he erased?
Yeah, I'm sorry if you can't hear her. I can't either. I'll try to. I believe she's from Hawaii, and she's saying she's a sole provider for her family and that he's diminished what she's going through. She's saying it's minorities that struggle and don't diminish her struggle.
But here's our struggle.
And he's saying he just diminished her struggle.
And we and I can give you the history. Well, look at the Capitol. Look at all these buildings around. People died. They were raped. There were women were raped. Children raped. Children forced to work. The average age of an enslaved person was from 4 years old up to 70 till death. Now we can't compare what you went through, but I am deeply sympathetic.
Native Hawaiians are living in such high.
She said now you're playing oppression wars.
I'm sure the maternal birth rates are really concerning. Yeah.
She's saying that's a form of racism.
It's correcting. It's correcting.
She said he's talking about adjustment and not.
I keep it the same. That's the justice. Thank you for your question.
I actually have a few questions that
You go first.
thank you. I appreciate that. I had a few questions that I wanted to ask. The first is that it should be going back to the funding police. How do you feel about just reprioritizing some of the, I guess what I'm trying to get to is, how do you feel about changing the screening process for potential police candidates? Is that something that you can support and stand behind?
Absolutely. It's all public disclosure. We didn't have any of our police officers, emergency responders, walk into a public job where they're going to be servicing the public without knowing their actual background. Now, called a surface background check, and you have what's called an underneath background check. And that is what the Recovery Act calls anyone who's handling a public job or career or an elected official. We need to know who they are. And the only way we're going to prevent this from happening again is to demand absolute public disclosure.
Okay, I guess my second question would be, I know this is something that you didn't touch on, but something that's important to me. What is your stance on campaign finance reform, and how are you currently financing your campaign for Congress?
I'm financing my campaign for Congress through friends and my own pocket. I have not received one penny from corporate donations. They don't want to touch me because of the type of agenda that I have. They are very afraid of it. And we all need to understand, look at the candidate who's running for office. If they have too many corporate donors, then your chances of having a voice in the location where you live is slim to none.
So are you insinuating that you don't plan on accepting any corporate donations, even if you receive offers?
If the corporation is for the Recovery Act or the repair of people, yes. Other than that, no. Because I would not be able to deliver an agenda that would make them happy.
And would you be willing to disclose the various corporations that have donated to your campaign and how much they have donated at some point?
Absolutely, 100%. I would be willing to send everybody who's ever given me 1/4, who they are, where they're from. If it's a corporation, I have no problems with disclosure.
I guess my last question is vaguely broad. I'm so sorry, this is the last one. My last question is vaguely broad. Just speaking to my sister here, do you think that your campaign could be stronger if you focus more on unifying tactics instead of just focusing on one particular minority in general? I think that the city of DC is very diverse, and I think that instead of dividing us or just focusing on one particular group, you could reach a lot more people and actually help a lot more people if you focused on uniting us here.
I am. Uniting the District of Columbia is not hard. We just need to get rid of dysfunctional programs that does not help everyone. Now, one main staple item inside of my agenda will be to allow our students to attend any college anywhere in this country without paying out-of-state tuition and having open acceptance without SAT, ACT, or MCAT, or LSAT, whichever entrance exam that is required for you to attend somebody's college or university.
So can I get a promise from you here today that after speaking with us, you will go and do more research into the different histories of all of the minority demographics that are represented here in the District of Columbia?
Absolutely, I will.
If you come back and speak to us,
I'll
and
have
we
my
find
stats
out.
ready. I will have all of my stats ready.
So I just wanted to bring it back to something you said earlier. So I've been in an organization called Students for Justice in Palestine since 2017. I've been pretty active in that organization through my college career, and I've learned a lot about the issues that went on there. But when you said that during the formation of Israel, the Palestinian government allowed them to purchase the land, that's an absolute falsehood. The delegation. And it was also opposed by members of the delegation who were representing other Arab countries in the region. And after that disagreement occurred, we saw what is referred to in Palestine as the Nakba, the catastrophe, where people were forcibly displaced from their homes and were forced to leave the country. People still have the keys from the houses that they were displaced from, the buildings that were demolished. And people are still, to this day, uncovering corpses from mass graves from 1948. And for you to say it was just a peaceable agreement where they voluntarily gave up the land, I found that incredible. That you would say something like that when we are talking about events of similar intensity and generational trauma.
Well, to answer your question, the U.S. Capitol is a memorial where all or some of my ancestors are buried underneath the footing. The U.S. Capitol is a memorial where some of my ancestors are buried. Some of his ancestors are buried underneath the footings. They didn't value our lives. So I understand what you're saying. But in order for Black Americans to receive the Reparations Act that some of you are promoting, we would have to go and find neutral land and create a sovereign nation. That's what would have to take place. Then you would have rights to sue the U.S. government.
So, I fully acknowledge that the U.S. Capitol and the White House, they are monuments to the generational oppression and legacy of slavery in this country, as they were actually built by slaves. But what you have said doesn't really at all address my real concern, which is that you so just like indifferently brushed over the harrowing history of what actually went on in Palestine, and like you haven't actually acknowledged like anything about what I said.
Well, I don't know the entire history of Israel, except what I was told by some of the children of Israel in the Holocaust as to how they got there. That's the only part I know. I'm not as in depth as you are with Israel, but I am in depth with the injury of the North American slavery system.
Thanks, that answers my question.
Anybody want the...
She's asking if he's going to help the wards that have no grocery stores.
That's what recovery does. Recovery goes into the core of the injury. Ward 7 and Ward 8 are injured areas in the District of Columbia. They're the two poorest wards. I have relatives in Ward 7. I have relatives in Ward 8. I grew up in Ward 8. I live in Ward 3. I have seen the District of Columbia turn its back on the forgotten people. I was just lucky to be able
She reiterated that she asked how he's going to help them. And she's saying a lot of kids she knows have dropped out because they couldn't afford to go to school. And the system is rigged. And how is he going to help them? What is his agenda? Detail what he's going to do.
I can't stay until tomorrow. Thank you for your question.
The dog just barked at the guy in the suit, so everyone's laughing.
If you all want to go online and look at a copy of the bill, uscria.com. uscria.com. You'll be able to find a copy of the bill online.
That's a haircut right there.
Okay, so I think he's done speaking. Let's see what happens next. If you are just joining us, please smash the like button, share this stream, subscribe if you haven't already. We will be live this weekend, and Jordan will be reporting live from an undisclosed location. We will disclose it very soon. We will tell members first. So statuscoup.com/join. So not sure exactly what's happening right now. Hold tight. It costs a lot for us to be out in the field, so you can support us at any amount via GoFundMe.com/status-coup-news. I think they're wrapping up. The freedom fighters people are giving him some information. One second, guys.
Yeah, that was
So that was interesting. Hi. That was very interesting. You saw. I'll put it on the puppies as I close out here. So you saw that a candidate, Meeks, was out here and took some questions, and he definitely, from the reaction of the crowd, doesn't seem to be, on the same page as those here who want reparations, who want, more from him, who want more specifics, more plans. And he just didn't seem to be prepared to deliver that to anyone. So there's another puppy. So you can see people are excited about the dogs. Remember, I will be back on Thursday, and then this weekend is Juneteenth. Friday is Juneteenth. So I will be out here in DC. There are huge things planned, including a shutdown of the city, essentially, of essential services. There are plans to shut down highways. Yesterday they shut down a highway, so there are plans for more of that. And I can't tell you what's going to happen exactly, but there are things planned for all weekend. Remember, this is the third week of protests. So much has happened, so much is yet to come, and people and protesters are not going to stop until real change is seen. That's what I've heard over and over again. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Jordan will be out reporting in the field at an undisclosed location that we will disclose very, very soon. So get excited about that. Jordan and Jamal will be going somewhere. We'll tell you where very soon. And we are funded totally by you all. So please support us. PayPal.me/Status Coup, GoFundMe.com/status-coup-news. And you can't hear me? Can you guys hear me? Anyway, so please subscribe, join, do everything you can to help Status Coup keep reporting in the field. And we will be out here very, very soon again. Love you all. Thank you all so much for your support. Bye-bye.